Welcome back to another episode, GW. I'm Izzy Angeli, and this is Gweek from home. The most recent and final presidential debate of 2020 concluded Thursday night, moderated by NBC journalist Kristen Welker at Belmont University. President Trump and former Vice President Joe Biden covered issues related to the coronavirus and the current administration's response, election interference, national security, American families being separated at the border, race, poverty, federal relief, and climate change. According to CNN, both people from the left and right are praising Kristen Welker and her ability to facilitate the exchange of views with fewer interruptions compared to the last debate. Chris Wallace, the former debate moderator, admitted he was jealous on Fox News later that night, saying, quote, "I would have liked to have been able to moderate that debate and to get a real exchange of views instead of hundreds of interruptions," end quote. GW's Theater and Dance Department hosted a virtual production of Antigone on Tuesday over Zoom. The centuries-old tragedy written by Sophocles ended before it could start, when unknown hackers joined the session and interrupted the live pre-show speech. During the cyber attack, the people moderating the event lost control of the meeting and were unable to mute or remove the attacker accounts. The hackers shared harmful, racially charged images and words that could be classified as hate speech. Investigations are currently underway by GW administration and technology experts. The show will be available asynchronously at some point in the future. In the meantime, students are encouraged to fill out the bias incident and students' rights and responsibilities public incident reports, along with contacting GW's counseling services. With change being at the forefront of 2020, countries all over the world are demanding change in government and policing. Between the Nigerian security forces allegedly killing 12 peaceful protesters to Belarus resisting police brutality, Madeline Taylor has the story.
2020 has certainly been the year for change, with countries worldwide calling for anti-government action and police reform. From protesters in Nigeria's capital resisting police brutality, to demonstrators in Belarus calling for the president's resignation, to the citizens of Thailand calling for the end of their military-backed government, these ideals have sparked a global interest.
In Nigeria, the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, SARS, was created to address the country's rising crime rates. Though the officers were meant to protect Nigerian citizens, they are now being accused of murder, torture, and extortion, according to The Guardian. With protests gaining traction over social media, the Nigerian government has disbanded SARS and has stated that they will be holding officers accountable for violence. However, protesters were met with more force while they marched for reform.
Give us justice for people who have lost their loved ones to SARS brutality. The IGP should resign because obviously he doesn't have a control of the police force. The police force do not listen to him. So if you cannot control what is under your control, then you don't have any business being there.
The people of Belarus are calling for the resignation of their current leader, President Alexander Lukashenko. Daily protests began on August 9th after Lukashenko won the general election with 80% of the vote. According to ABC News, citizens suspected a manipulation of the results, and now 100,000 protesters gather each Sunday to march through Minsk. The Belarusian police responded with violence to control the crowds and arrested more than 30 protesters. Over 10,000 pro-democracy protesters gathered in Bangkok, Thailand, to call for a new constitution with limits of power on monarchy, as well as demanding the end of Prayut Chan-o-cha's military-backed government, reported CNN. However, Thai police responded with water cannons and blue indelible dye in an attempt to control them.
These protests have drawn attention from people all across the globe with the help of social media. Given the correct resources, anyone can educate themselves on the pro-democracy and police reform campaigns and movements worldwide. For Gweek, this is Madeline Taylor.
Thanks, Madeline. U.S. officials announced on Wednesday that they believe Iran is behind emails sent to Democratic voters in, quote, battleground states, end quote, according to the Associated Press. The email appeared to be intimidating them into voting for President Trump's re-election. Officials did not give evidence as to how they correlated this to Iran. Similar direct efforts to sway public opinion through election interference is most commonly associated with Russia, as they conducted a social media campaign in 2016 to create dissension and are doing the same this year, according to U.S. government's top intelligence official John Ratcliffe and FBI Director Chris Wray. They alleged Russia and Iran obtained voter registration information, though this information can be accessed through requests state by state. Director Wray encourages voters to view this new information with a, quote, healthy dose of skepticism, end quote. Well, that's all we have for this week. Don't forget to visit gw-tv.com and follow us on Instagram at Gweek News for more. From our homes to wherever you may be, stay safe, GW.